Hey guys, I hope you had a good first week for your e-learning. I know it's kind of a weird time doing school all online, not seeing your friends, being home all the time. It's kind of weird. I think it's weird, but I hope that it went well. So what I would like you to do today is go ahead and turn into chapter 7 of your book. I know you just read it. Well, read part of it. But I want to talk specifically about one part of the story, which I think is really important. But if you're just reading it through the first time, I don't think you kind of pick up on those little details that I wanted to talk about. So go ahead, turn to page 142 if you have the actual book. If you don't have the actual book, it is at the very beginning of chapter 7. It is where Uncle Hammer is kind of yelling at Stacy about the whole coat thing. So go ahead and get turned there. You can pause the video if you need to while you try to find it. But we are at the top of page 142. I'm going to read it, and while I am doing that, I want you to think about two things. One, how does this not only apply to a coat, but how does it also apply to their land situation, the things that Uncle Hammer is saying? And number two, how could this be a life lesson to you? Because Uncle Hammer has a lot of good one-liners in there. A one-liner, if you're not sure what that is, it's usually just like a sentence piece of information that can be applied to a lot of different situations. And I think Uncle Hammer has a lot of good one-liners in here. So I want you to be thinking about those two things while I read. You are welcome to follow along if you want, or you can just sit and listen. It's up to you. So I'll talk about it briefly afterwards, and then I'll tell you what I want you to do after. Okay? All right. At the top of 142. Backing away from his anger, Stacy turned to leave, but Uncle Hammer stopped him. "No," he said. "Leave the coat where it is." Mama turned bewildered toward Uncle Hammer. "Hammer, what you're saying? That's the best coat Stacy's ever had and will probably ever will as long as he lives in this house. David and I can't afford a coat like that." Uncle Hammer leaned back in his chair, his eyes cold on Stacy. "Seems to me if Stacy's not smart enough to hold on to a good coat, he don't deserve it. As far as I'm concerned, TJ can keep the coat permanently. At least he knows a good thing when he sees it." "Hammer," Big Ma said, "let the boy go get the coat. That TJ probably done told him all sorts. Well, ain't Stacy got a brain? What the devil does he care about what TJ thinks or TJ says? Who is this TJ anyway? Does he put clothes on Stacy's back or food in front of him?" Uncle Hammer stood and walked over to Stacy, as little man Christopher John and I followed him fearfully with our eyes. "I suppose if TJ told you it was summertime out there and you should run buck naked down the road because everybody else was doing it, you'd do it too, huh?" "No, sir," Stacy replied, looking at the floor. "Now you hear me good on this. Look at me when I'm talking to you, boy." Immediately, Stacy raised his head and looked at Uncle Hammer. "If you ain't got the brains of a flea to see this TJ fellow made a fool of you, then you'll never get anywhere in this world. It's tough out there, boy, and as long as there are people, there's going to be somebody trying to take what you got and trying to drag you down. It's up to you whether you let them or not. Now, it seems to me you wanted that coat when I gave it to you. Ain't that right?" Stacy managed a shaky, "Yes, sir." "And anybody with any sense would know it's a good thing. Ain't that right?" This time, Stacy could only nod. "Then if you want something and it's a good thing and you got it in the right way, you better hang on to it and don't let nobody talk you out of it. You care what a lot of useless people say about you, you'll never get anywhere. 'Cause there's a lot of folks that don't want you to make it. You understand what I'm telling you?" "Yes, sir, Uncle Hammer," Stacy stammered. Uncle Hammer turned and went back to his paper without having laid a hand on Stacy, but Stacy shook visibly from the encounter. All right, so in that part, Uncle Hammer was specifically addressing the coat situation, like, how dare you give TJ this coat? You wanted it, it's a good thing, and you let somebody talk you out of it. There's going to be people in this world that are going to try to talk you out of a lot of things, and you need to have the smarts not to let them do so. So even though he was only talking about the coat, we can kind of make those connections of the land, because as we've already seen, Mr. Granger has been to their house trying to get the land from Big Ma. So what I would like you to do right now is open a Google Doc, and you're going to write 2 paragraphs. Your first paragraph is going to be about how this speech from Uncle Hammer that we just read, how that connects to the land. And feel free to quote Uncle Hammer in your paragraph. If you like something specific that he said, make sure we're using quotation marks. You're telling me who said it, so we're not plagiarizing, okay? You can take what he said and put that in your writing, why that specifically can also tie into the land situation, okay? And then in your second paragraph, I would like you to write about how his speech can apply to your life. Because this was just about a coat. I don't know if any of you are ever going to be in a situation where you give your coat to someone, but you might be in a situation where you are not making choices based on what you want to do, but you're making choices based on what other people are saying you should do, or you're making decisions because you think that's what other people want you to do, or you don't want to be laughed at because Stacy was being laughed at, being called a preacher for wearing the coat. So any way that this could apply to your personal life, your personal decisions, the way other people look at you, the way you want other people to look at you, the way you don't want other people to look at you, any of those things, I want you to add that into the second paragraph. And like I said, you can also quote Uncle Hammer and put that into your paragraph as well. When you are finished with that, make sure you save it as a Word doc. Super important. I can't grade it unless it's a Word doc. Save it as a Word doc and upload it to Canvas. If you guys have any questions, I will be able to answer emails all day. Please, please, please get it turned in on time. And make sure that you go into your SSR class and answer your questions so you get counted as present for today. If you guys have any questions, it doesn't have to be just about school. If there's anything that you need or anything you're worried about or concerned about, or you just want to say, hey, whatever it is, feel free to shoot me an email, or you can chat me through Canvas, either way. But have a great day. Don't stand too close to anybody. Wash your hands. And I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.